guys, it's Sam, and today I'm doing a book chat on spoilers. So I've seen these kind of book chats going around recently. I've been meaning to do one for a while, but Lindsay from Lindsay Ray did one recently, and so did Vidka from One Book One Review, so I will link those down below for you to check out because they talk about similar things, but different topics as well, and I just kind of wanted to add to that conversation about spoilers and what they are to different people and what we as reviewers should do as far as giving spoiler warnings and stuff like that and how you can avoid spoilers. So don't worry, in this video I will not be giving any spoilers as examples, but I will just be talking about spoilers in general and how to avoid them and what we do to try to help you guys avoid them and stuff like that. So number one, a thing that has kind of come up as far as spoilers is also trigger warnings or content warnings. So trigger warnings or content warnings are when a reviewer will give this trigger warning because a book will contain something that could possibly trigger somebody's anxiety, eating disorder, depression, whatever. And to me, that isn't a spoiler because your getting spoiled isn't as important as somebody not potentially being triggered. So I do not care if that trigger warning you feel spoils you because I feel like it's more important that a person who could potentially be triggered by something have a panic attack, feel more depressed, feel more anxious, have a eating disorder relapse, something like that from seeing that content. That is more important than you potentially knowing something about the plot. Just gonna be completely honest about that. Obviously, we can't always warn about every trigger because we as reviewers don't know about every trigger, but I myself, and I know a lot of other people on BookTube, really do try to give trigger warnings when possible. If that's something that you don't like, I don't know what to tell you. I think someone else's mental health is way more important than you possibly being spoiled for a little section of the plot. As far as things that you can do to avoid spoilers, we have the obvious stuff of avoiding social media. That's what everyone says when they make a spoiler video, but honestly, I know that's hard. I don't want to avoid social media, and Tumblr especially. Tumblr is the city of spoilers, okay? I've been spoiled for at least 3 books on Tumblr. The Fault in Our Stars, Throne of Glass, and the obvious Allegiant, Divergent, everything. So those are the ones that I can think of for sure. I'm sure there's been other ones. And countless TV shows. I know this, and I still go on Tumblr because I enjoy Tumblr for fandom stuff. I just love it, and I just can't give up Tumblr. But there are things you can do with Tumblr as far as blocking certain tags. So if people tag their content, then you can block that tag. There's different apps that you can kind of connect to it. I think XKit is one of them. I forget what the other one is. Tumblr Savior, I think. I haven't caught up with all of that because I don't have it on my computer because I'm just like, you know what? If I'm gonna be spoiled, I'll be spoiled, whatever. But if I see graphics or a quote or something that looks like it might be about a series that I'm reading or haven't read yet, I'll just skip through it. I know it's hard. I'm doing this because I do it on mobile. Tumblr is always on mobile for me. But just try to skip it. Just try to overlook it. It's just gonna happen sometimes. Tumblr is inevitable for spoilers. It's very hard, but I try my best to tag my different series that I am talking about on Tumblr if I'm going to have any spoiler stuff in there, like if I'm going to reblog a graphic that is kind of spoilery or a text post or something, that I will try my best to remember to just tag it. I usually do anyway for organizational purposes, but making sure that you just kind of skim over that stuff or get the different apps to block it or whatever. It kind of sucks if you are going to yell at somebody for reblogging that because that is their fandom and they want to talk about it with other people, and it's not really their responsibility to kind of block that. It's your responsibility to avoid that yourself. And that's kind of how I feel about spoilers in general. If you don't want to be spoiled for something, then it's your responsibility to do things to safeguard yourself against spoilers. And just to realize that spoilers are kind of inevitable. And yes, you can cry and be upset about it. Like, I have definitely posted on Twitter when I've gotten spoiled for something, like, damn it, because I was recently spoiled for Throne of Glass before I actually read them. And it sucks. We all know it sucks. Like, as readers, if someone's like, oh, you spoiled me for something, like, I feel bad and I get upset, but at the same time, it's like, if I was talking about something that's very fandom-based, then you as a viewer or as a reader should kind of know to avoid certain things. I'm gonna go into that a little bit more right now. The biggest things that I do as far as trying to avoid spoilers for certain series is to not watch tag videos. And I know that that is hard, but either you don't watch them or you do what I do and skip certain parts or mute certain parts when people are talking about a certain book. So typically speaking, before someone goes into a spoiler type material, they're gonna hold up the book and say what it is. Mute it. Skip over it. Whatever you need to do, because like I said, it's your responsibility and my responsibility too as a fellow viewer that watches BookTube videos or looks at reviews or whatever, to skip that stuff. Typically speaking with tags, you're going to talk about your favorites of something. So it's a book that someone's already read and it's their favorite and they want to talk about that. That's cool. I'm not going to say don't talk about that because you're going to give me a spoiler about something. No, talk about it. I'll just skip over it. I'll mute it, whatever. The biggest thing that I think I have gotten yelled at about as far as spoilers. I've gotten yelled at a few times in comments about spoilers and stuff, and that has been on videos where I have talked about ships. To me, that was your responsibility to not watch that video. If you consider a spoiler to be anything talking about ships, and some people do and some people don't, then don't watch videos about couples, about ships, about love interests. All the videos that I've had with those kind of tags have been, you know, bookish love tag and favorite couples and da-da-da-da-da. It's about that. If you consider couples to be a spoiler, then don't watch those videos. If you consider different romantic things a spoiler, then don't watch it. If you even hear the two people's names and you think that's a spoiler, don't watch videos about couples, because people want to talk about their ships. One of my favorite things to talk about as far as books and stuff when I'm doing book discussions is the romantic plot lines. I've talked about romantic plot lines a million times on my channel. So those are things I like talking about, and there's really no way to kind of go around that, really. So it is your responsibility if you feel that ships are a spoiler to not watch that kind of stuff. So potentially you might be watching a little bit less videos because you're going to be avoiding these different spoilery type videos. Tags especially are more spoiler territory. Most people are not going to give the very obvious spoilers of a character death. No one really is going to say that. Like, I have never really run into a video of someone talking about character death. I've run into stuff on Tumblr talking about character deaths or like Twitter, but never in a video. So no one's gonna really spoil those kind of plot points. But like I said, if you think ships are a plot point that is a spoiler, then you really shouldn't be watching those kinds of videos, because that's something that comes up a lot in tags and such. So really decide what things you consider a spoiler, because they're really different for everybody. Things that I consider a spoiler might not be to other people and vice versa. So you just kind of have to decide what you're willing to get spoiled on and what you're not, and watch videos dependent on that. The last tip that I have, and it's kind of an obvious one, is to just read those books first. If there's a series that you are very, very scared of being spoiled for, do your best to read that as soon as possible. A lot of books that I pre-order are books that I'm afraid of being spoiled for, so I want to read them as soon as they come out so that I have the least possibility of getting spoiled. And if I'm looking through Tumblr and stuff like that and it's a really big book in the book blur community, as they call it on Tumblr, then I won't be spoiled for anything because I've already read it. So if your favorite series is Throne of Glass, you better make sure that you pre-order Queen of Shadows and read it the day it comes out. And I know it can be a little bit stressful to do that and that you're just like, oh, I'm not in the mood for it right now, but if you really don't want to be spoiled, you have to push all your other books aside and make sure that you read those big books. Throne of Glass was one of my series that I really didn't want to get spoiled for, and I put it off a little bit, and I got spoiled for it. So now, if I have a series that I really don't want to be spoiled for, I try to read that as soon as possible. And like I said, skipping stuff in tags and not watching certain tags that I feel are going to talk about that and stuff like that, because spoilers are inevitable. You're going to get spoiled probably numerous times in your book buying and reading life, but you can avoid them as much as possible, and these are the things that I do that help me the most. So comment down below and let me know what you do to avoid spoilers, and please don't post any spoilers in the comments. I know comment sections of things are also big places for spoilers, so that's another tip, is to not read comments potentially if you're scared of spoilers, but also be really mindful as viewers and readers that other people besides me are reading your comments. So even though I've read a series, other people might not have, so don't spoil a series. So as much as you might want to complain about a series that's been spoiled for you in the comments, if you're going to do that, be very, very vague, because I might know what you're talking about, but I might not. You might spoil it for me, or you might spoil it for somebody else, and that's not cool. So again, we all try our best as readers. We're all a loving community that doesn't want to spoil anybody, so comment down below and let me know the different ways that you try to avoid spoilers. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!